Imagine standing in front of a stone so massive that even today's construction equipment would struggle to move it. Now imagine trying to transport that stone thousands of years ago. No engines. No steel cables. No hydraulic cranes. Just ropes, wood, human strength, and an understanding of physics that still leaves experts astonished. But what if I told you that one small mistake may have stopped one of the greatest engineering projects in human history, leaving behind a frozen moment in time that remains unsolved to this very day? Welcome to History Harbor. Tonight, we journey back thousands of years to uncover the extraordinary story of the ancient builders who attempted to move stones weighing over 800 tons, and the mysterious event that may have brought everything to a sudden halt. Before we begin, if you enjoy uncovering forgotten mysteries, lost civilizations, and the secrets hidden beneath history's surface, subscribe to History Harbor and join us as we explore the stories that textbooks often leave behind. Our story begins in what is now modern-day Lebanon. Here stands one of the most mysterious archaeological sites ever constructed, Baalbek. At first glance, Baalbek appears impressive. But the deeper you investigate, the more impossible it seems. The massive temple complex contains some of the largest stones ever moved by human beings. Some of these stones weigh over 800 tons. Others may weigh more than 1,000 tons. To put that into perspective, a fully loaded Boeing 747 weighs less than some of these stones. And yet ancient builders somehow cut them from a quarry, transported them over rough terrain, and lifted them into position with technology that, according to conventional wisdom, should not have been capable of such feats. For centuries, historians, engineers, and archaeologists have argued over one simple question: how? The story begins in a limestone quarry located less than a mile from the temple complex itself. There, partially buried beneath the earth, lies an enormous stone block known today as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. The stone weighs approximately 800 to 1,000 tons. What makes this discovery even more astonishing is that it was never completed. It remains exactly where ancient workers left it, frozen in time. A mystery waiting to be solved. Imagine the scene nearly 2,000 years ago. Hundreds of workers gather under the scorching Middle Eastern sun. Master engineers shout instructions. Workers tighten massive ropes. Wooden rollers creak beneath unimaginable weight. Every movement must be perfectly coordinated. A single error could mean disaster. Yet despite the enormous risks, the ancient builders were clearly confident enough to attempt what many modern engineers would hesitate to undertake. But why? The answer lies in ambition. Ancient civilizations often expressed power through architecture. The larger the monument, the greater the message. Kings, emperors, and priests wanted structures that would outlive them by thousands of years. Baalbek was not simply a temple. It was a declaration. A message to future generations that its builders possessed extraordinary knowledge and unmatched power. And so, they pursued the impossible. Modern experiments have shown that large stones can, under certain conditions, be moved using surprisingly simple tools. With enough workers pulling together, lubricated surfaces, wooden sledges, and carefully designed systems of leverage, even enormous weights can be shifted. But moving an 800-ton stone remains almost unimaginable. Some researchers estimate that thousands of workers would have been required. Others argue that ancient engineers developed specialized techniques that have since been lost to history. Perhaps both explanations are true. As the stones slowly moved toward their destination, every inch represented a triumph of human ingenuity. But then something happened. Something unexpected. Something catastrophic enough that one of the largest stones ever quarried was simply abandoned forever. What could force an ancient civilization to walk away from a project of this magnitude? One theory suggests that the stone developed a structural crack. Imagine spending months, perhaps years, cutting and transporting a colossal stone only to discover that it had become unstable. A tiny fracture invisible to the naked eye could transform the stone from a masterpiece into a death trap. Attempting to move it further might have resulted in disaster. But there may be another explanation. Some archaeologists believe the transportation process itself failed. Perhaps the rope snapped. Perhaps the sledges collapsed. Perhaps the ground beneath the stone shifted unexpectedly. When dealing with weights approaching 1,000 tons, even the smallest miscalculation could have catastrophic consequences. Imagine hearing the terrifying sound of cracking wood. The screams of workers. The sudden realization that centuries of ambition had just come crashing to a halt. If you're enjoying this journey into one of history's greatest engineering mysteries, take a moment to subscribe to History Harbor. Every week, we uncover the hidden stories that shaped our world and the mysteries that still challenge everything we think we know. But the mystery becomes even stranger. In recent years, archaeologists uncovered another gigantic stone in the same quarry. This one was even larger. Some estimates suggest it weighed over 1,600 tons. That is not a typo. 1,600 tons. The existence of this stone changes everything. It suggests that ancient builders were not simply attempting extraordinary feats. They were actively pushing beyond known limits. Imagine the confidence required to even begin cutting such a stone. The planners clearly believed they possessed the knowledge and technology necessary to move it. Yet once again, the stone was abandoned. Twice. 2 colossal projects. 2 unfinished monuments. 2 mysteries frozen beneath the earth. This raises an uncomfortable question. What if the ancient builders discovered that they had finally reached the absolute limit of their capabilities? Throughout history, human civilizations have repeatedly tested the boundaries of what is possible. Sometimes they succeed. Sometimes they fail. And sometimes, failure becomes the most important historical evidence of all. The abandoned stones of Baalbek may represent precisely such a moment. A snapshot of human ambition colliding with physical reality. But there are those who reject this explanation entirely. Alternative theories have flourished for decades. Some suggest that unknown technologies were involved. Others propose that ancient civilizations possessed engineering knowledge that was later lost. A few even speculate about extraterrestrial intervention. While these theories capture the imagination, archaeologists continue searching for answers grounded in evidence. Yet the truth remains frustratingly elusive. Because regardless of which theory you believe, one undeniable fact remains. The stones exist. Someone cut them. Someone intended to move them. And someone ultimately failed. Perhaps that failure is the greatest clue of all. Think about it. If the project had succeeded perfectly, we might never question how these ancient builders accomplished such extraordinary feats. It is the unfinished work that forces us to confront the mystery. The abandoned stone becomes a message across time. A message saying, we almost did something impossible. As centuries passed, empires rose and fell. The Romans expanded the temple complex. Travelers visited the ruins. Stories transformed into legends. And still, the giant stones remained. Silent. Motionless. Waiting. Today, engineers armed with computer simulations, modern cranes, and advanced mathematics continue studying Baalbek. Some have concluded that moving the stones was difficult but achievable. Others remain skeptical. Even with all our modern technology, reproducing the exact methods used by ancient builders remains extraordinarily challenging. That reality should force us to reconsider how we view the ancient world. Too often, we imagine our ancestors as primitive people struggling against nature. But the builders of Baalbek were not primitive. They were engineers, innovators, problem solvers, people willing to attempt tasks so ambitious that they still leave us speechless thousands of years later. Perhaps the greatest lesson hidden within the abandoned stones is not about failure at all. Perhaps it is about courage. The courage to attempt something so extraordinary that success itself seemed impossible. Because every great achievement in human history began with someone willing to ask, what if we can? And every civilization, no matter how advanced, eventually encounters a challenge that pushes it beyond its limits. The giant stones of Baalbek may represent one such moment. A moment when human ambition reached higher than ever before. A moment when one mistake, one fracture, one miscalculation, or one unexpected event froze history itself. And maybe that's why the mystery continues to fascinate us. Not because we don't know the answer, but because, deep down, we recognize something profoundly human in the story. The desire to build, the willingness to risk failure, and the hope that our creations will survive long after we are gone. As the sun sets over the ancient stones of Baalbek, their shadows stretch across the landscape just as they have for thousands of years. They remain where they were abandoned, and Baalbek is not alone. Across the ancient world, there are other monuments that challenge our understanding of what early civilizations were capable of achieving. Massive stone structures appear in regions separated by thousands of miles. From giant temples to colossal statues, ancient builders repeatedly demonstrated a willingness to attempt what many considered impossible. Was this simply the result of determination? Or did ancient engineers possess practical knowledge that has gradually disappeared over the centuries? The truth is that history does not preserve every answer. Sometimes, knowledge vanishes. Libraries burn. Empires collapse. Languages disappear. And with them, entire systems of understanding can be lost forever. Imagine possessing a technique so effective that it allowed you to move hundreds of tons of stone using simple materials. Then imagine that knowledge disappearing over the course of generations. What would remain? Only the monuments themselves. Silent evidence that someone, somewhere, once knew how to achieve the extraordinary. This possibility has fascinated researchers for generations. Some believe the answer lies not in advanced technology, but in advanced organization. After all, the greatest achievements of human civilization often emerge when thousands of people work together toward a single purpose. Perhaps the true secret of Baalbek was never a lost machine or a forgotten invention. Perhaps it was cooperation itself. Yet even if that explanation is correct, one mystery still remains. Why were the largest stones abandoned? Why stop after investing so much labor? Why leave behind monuments that could have become the greatest engineering achievements of their age? Some historians suggest political upheaval. Others point to economic collapse. War, disease, leadership changes, natural disasters, any of these could have halted construction instantly. History is filled with ambitious projects abandoned because circumstances changed faster than builders could adapt. And perhaps that is the most human explanation of all. Not that ancient builders failed because they lacked knowledge, but because they faced the same challenges we face today: uncertainty, risk, and the unpredictable nature of history itself. Standing beside the giant stones of Baalbek today, visitors often experience a strange feeling. Not simply awe, not simply curiosity, but humility. Because regardless of how advanced we believe ourselves to be, these stones force us to acknowledge a profound truth. Human beings have always been capable of extraordinary things. Thousands of years ago, without electricity, engines, or computers, people looked at stones weighing hundreds of tons and decided they would move them. And for a remarkable period of time, they succeeded. If you're fascinated by the mysteries of lost civilizations and the incredible achievements hidden throughout human history, subscribe to History Harbor and join us as we continue exploring the stories that still challenge everything we think we know.